in terms of how you got into sales, Mark, so tell us a little bit about this, because not only are you the director within the company, which is obviously a family run company, um,
Mm.
but you're a salesman through and through at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, I've come to the end of being that sort of salesman, but like I started out working for my dad, like I said, when I was around about 16, 17. So I started from the foundations and obviously made my way to the top of obviously my industry,
Mhm.
but that's taken like 30 years. So I started off painting safes for my dad and cutting cutting them down to the steel or putting them down to the steel. So my dad would buy secondhand safes. I would do them up. Dad would sell them on. I'd paint them, and then he'd double his money. And then we got approached to be agents for SMP, and then we started selling safes as well as installing them. Down the line, then I was breaking in the safes. I was picking safes open, fitting air tube systems. So then, probably in the last 10 or 15 years, I've then stumbled across sales. And my dad said, "Look, you're really good with people, Mark. You're a people person, and people buy off people." And really, in the last 15, 16, 17 years, I've just sold a lot more. But the coin just like I'm 45 now, and something just in the last 6 or 7 months just like triggered inside me and went, I'm going to be retiring in 15 or 20 years, and I need to look out for me, and I want to have a touch wood, have a lovely life at the end of retirement, and we get through this awful virus
Yeah.
that we have at the minute. And I want to leave a legacy for my children if they want it, and if not, to be able to give a legacy that I can give my kids some money and something for them to look forward to in their life, and then my life as well.
Yeah.
So I'm playing catch up now. From like a lot of people, you'll see Gary V on LinkedIn, and geez, that guy's just on it, and he just gives out all this information. And there's all these people that are like, I went to this thing, Last Media Summit, with
Yeah.
Lucy,
Yeah.
and it was a fantastic event. And that girl's 22, and she's completely lit. Like, I mean, she's 23 years ahead of me. The way I kind of look at it, and I just have full respect, and admiration, because I go, she's like, imagine where I would have been if I'd done that when I was 22, 23.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
your health's your wealth, and anything after that's a bonus. So.
Yeah. Completely. Can you remember the first safe that you ever sold?
I think it was an old antique safe, and it was one of those ones with golden handles, golden fists as handles.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I'd painted it up, and I'd spent probably about a week and a half on it. It was dark blue, and then it had wee lines around it and like leaf design. So I painted that bit in gold.
Hmm.
So I got speaking to a gentleman, and he said, "Oh, I'm looking like an antique safe to maybe put away my vintage wine." And I went, "Well, I've just painted a safe there." And he goes, "Well, can I see it?" And at that time, we were in Finicky in the Cuts.
Hmm.
So he came over and he seen it and he fell in love with it. And I sold it. I think my dad got the safe for about £100. And I think I sold it to him for about £650
Brilliant.
installed as well. So my dad kind of looked at me, and my dad wouldn't be, he wouldn't, he's got better as he's got older. So he would just nod. He would nod with approval. He wouldn't like put the arms around you and go, "You're the best," because my dad always thought he's the best and still does. But sure, who doesn't? But yeah, no, that was a nice moment.
Brilliant. And would your dad have been quite the salesman then? Obviously, to
Oh yeah.
start doing this, selling secondhand safes, and he obviously seen a market for it.
Mm.
Was your dad quite the salesman? Was he quite a people person?
Yeah. Oh, my dad's like he could sell sand to the Sahara. You know what I mean? My dad's a great salesman. He used to like sell boats. So he was brilliant at speedboating. So he was like a speedboating champion,
Hmm.
but he was that quick that anybody who was in navigating to tell him where to go, he actually had to pay them a fiver. Normally people would get in for nothing because they just love the thrill. But my dad was a bit of a crazy horse, so they went, no, I need I need a wee bit of money to come home with Harry. So he did that. He then did armored vehicles
Wow.
up in Carrickfergus, and he kind of just like a bit like I said in sales, he kind of stumbled across safes,
Mhm.
and he was invited by Chubb Safes at the time, who were based in Boucher, Harry, they give us the crap jobs. There was other outfit that had been around for 10 years before us, and they were getting all the lovely jobs of installs on the ground floor. And then they were asking my dad to like deliver install me and a couple of our guys 4 drawer filing cabinets up flights of stairs. It's really, really backbreaking work back in the day when you didn't have the technology.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, my dad's a great salesman. He always was, very salesy.
brilliant. So sales is in the blood, which
Yeah, it seems to
technically,
be.
it's
Seems to be in the Barrington blood and
brilliant,
many
brilliant.
others.
Brilliant. So that would kind of initially lead me on to the next sort of set of questions for you, Mark. Um, what would be your challenges that you've faced over the years selling the products that you have?
Challenges you would have, like, the margins aren't great. Like if you're in retail, if I told retail what my margins were, they would look at me and go, catch yourself on, that's an amazing margin.
Hmm.
But there's like times like in a week, you'd sell 3 or 4 safes in a week, whereas in retail they'll sell 500 to 1,000 of those items.
Hmm.
um it gets harder now. Like a lot of things, with less cash being around, and a lot of people kind of look at safes and go, "Ah, you'd only put money away in safes." But also that's why there's fire safes, because you're then trying to say you can put away documentation and stuff that's important, sentimental value. Less cash being around is always a bit of a worry for me in the back of my head, because I'm kind of going, if nobody, when retail would be my bread and butter and still is. But
Hmm.
if it gets to a stage that we become cardless, they're not going to need the safes like they used to.
Yep,
You know what I mean? But I don't think it'll happen in my time, but it could happen in my kids' time.
certainly.
But yeah, like you said earlier on, we're our niche markets, and it's hit and miss. But then that's why, in the last 5 or 10 years, I've really invested heavily in money and my time and effort to have an eBay shop for my secondhand safes. I've got a website, barringtonsecurity.co.uk. Word of mouth, we've been around for 30 years and we've got a really good client base. And for any business, your existing customers are the what keeps the doors open.
Hmm. So you've got obviously times changing, so adaptability,
Mm,
technology is taking over. Technology, I mean, everything that we're doing now, we have been
mm,
forced. Digital transformation has been spoken about, um, for businesses and different industries for a long time now, for about 10 years now. Digital
yeah.
transformation's coming. You need to get your website, you need to get online, blah blah
Mm,
blah. We've now been forced into that because of
mm,
the coronavirus.
yeah.
Again, we're communicating today via Zoom. This is how sales meetings are going to happen in the future. Um,
Mm.
you could eventually be sitting in your home office with a virtual reality kit on your head, and
Hologram.
yeah, all of a sudden you're in a room, you're in a meeting with people all over the world.
Pierce
So
Brosnan, the lawnmower man
yep, hundred
in the
percent,
movie.
100%. You
It's
know,
true.
and this is where technology is going, but it's impacting different industries in different
Yeah.
ways. And for you, it's the cash, as well as that. There's other things, documents being put online now, PDF, things like that. People keep documents in secure wallets online on their
Mm,
computers and stuff now, which is obviously a challenge. Um,
mm,
and you've invested in different revenue streams as such, so eBay, website, things like that. From a
mm,
sales perspective, how do
mm.
you overcome that challenge? How do you speak to someone and say you do need a safe? What's your sort of methodology behind that?
Well, for me, like I said before, people buy off people.
Hmm.
So they'll tell me what they need, and like we sell quality. I mean, it's taken years upon years to get to the level that we are at, but
Hmm.
we're able to sell quality. I give the customer what they need and not what sometimes I would want to give. They always say like Dick Turpin had a courtesy to wear a mask. Um, we're not like that, because if we were, we wouldn't be in business after 30 years. So I try and find out what the client needs and I sell to them what they need. Some guys maybe would go, I could maybe sell this and I could sell that and get an extra £200 or £300. And then if you times that by 15 or 20, you're going to have so much more money in the bank. I'm not really, I am salesy, don't get me wrong, but I try and sort of just sell the product and let people see what the product is. And if they want to buy it off me, then I'm here. And we are very competitive. You know what I mean? So I'm not out for the quick buck. You know, if it was, I would have kept our name. One of our names previously before Barrington Security was called Barrington, Harry Barrington, Daughter and Son.
Okay.
And if I had a pound for every time I heard everyone go, "Isn't that brilliant? The daughter ahead of the son." You don't see that. And it was a big thing for me at the time whenever we split up the business. My sister became a full time mummy.
Okay.
And I was going, but the reason I changed it to security was because I was going down the online route.
Yes.
And a lot of people were going, well, why not just do safes? But I didn't want people just to think that we just do safes. We
Mhm.
do, you know, over the last 6 or 7 years, we do other products. We do coin and note counting machines, and we do time attendance systems. We actually do watch winders, you know, which are actually with my name. I stumbled across this company, and I went, it's perfect. It's got my name Barrington on it. Like I don't have to like spend any money on getting a design. It's there. So I actually sold a Barrington watchwinder to a gentleman from Chelsea, London, about 3.5, 4 months ago. Didn't ring me, just went online and bought a Barrington 12 watchwinder safe off me for £2,500.
Brilliant. Absolutely
Just out of the blue, just didn't even ring me. Who has 12 watches? I've got one. One. Fair
but
play.
but you know that
No.
that's a good example of opportunity, you know, as well. Seeing the opportunity, and going back to your methodology, you know, being a people person, listening to
Mm.
the customer. There's a
Yeah.
lot of guys, and this is one of the purposes of holding these interviews as well. Is there's a lot of salespeople out there
Yeah.
that two things are happening. Number one, the management is crushing them with quota, with target. You know, you need to get
Mm.
20 grand, you need to get 30 grand, you need to get 15 sales. Um, and what that is causing salespeople to do is to sell out of desperation. And
Yeah.
salespeople then start to throw random products at customers, and they then get angry and customers tell them to fuck off, basically, um,
Mm.
in a polite way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but that's essentially what's happening. So again, it's good for you to hear from you as well, being a business owner and actually being in sales yourself. It's good
Yeah.
to hear from you that, well, actually, no, you know, I do sell to the customer. I ask the customer what they want,
Mm.
and I take into account what the customer is thinking.
Mm.
So I think a lot of salespeople could learn from that, most certainly. So that's lesson number one, Mark. Thanks very much for
It's okay.
that. um, that,
On the
that
house.
yeah, definitely. That would nicely lead on to the next set of questions. Um, what would be your sort of three top tips for sales professionals, um, taking into account your own experience, and what you've experienced over the last sort of couple of years?
My top tips in selling.
Yeah.
Um, just be you. You because if you're in sales, you obviously have a bit about you. So you obviously are confident enough that you think you can get something over the line. So be yourself. Be honest. Be 100% honest with what you're doing. Don't be thinking in the back of your head, you know, it's just happy days. I'm gonna maybe do them over here and make X amount of money. This is great because that'll be you know, karma is a great thing. It'll be caught up. It'll catch up with you, and you won't get longevity
Yeah.
from that. Um, Other tips, yeah, it's those two are really would be the top two,
Okay.
and just sell a really good product, and
Yeah.
just sell a good. Believe in what you're selling. You have to believe when you're in sales. You have to believe in what you're about. Sometimes people go through the motions and go, "Here's a product. I'm just going to sell it to you," and be really depressed about it.
Yeah.
But then if somebody comes in and sells the same product and has got a bit more, is given out a bit more, and has a bit more about them, they're going to get the sale
100%.
because people
To-
buy off people.
yeah, I totally agree with you on that, Mark, and it's something that I've discussed before, and it's I call it the belief gap.
Mm,
Um, when people and I hated sales. See, the first 7 years that I was in sales, been in for about
mm,
12 years now. First 7 years of my sales career, I hated it. I
yeah,
detested it because I was being crushed by sales managers asking for
mm,
absurd targets, and then I was selling products that I just didn't care about. I just really couldn't care. I was
yeah,
selling phones, I was selling broadband, paper bags, plastic bags, pizza boxes, everything.
yeah,
And I was kind
yeah,
of going, I have no connection to this whatsoever.
Yeah.
Um, and I was getting depressed. I was like, why am I mentally draining myself like this? Because sales is a mentally draining job as well. So I
Yeah.
actually had to have a word with myself, and I had to start looking, actively taking ownership and looking for companies that I wanted to work for.
Mm.
So that's how I ended up working in the health industry, helping people live healthier lives. That's why I work in marketing jobs and things like that, because I like
Mm.
helping businesses develop themselves and grow.
Yeah.
Um, so one of what I would actually say a top tip from me would be, guys, if you're going to sell a product, any product, make sure something that you actually love, something that you
Mm.
enjoy. If you like
Yeah.
selling cars, go and be a car salesman. If you
Yeah.
if you like going on holidays, go and work in a travel agents and sell
Yeah.
holidays. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what other people think about you. It doesn't matter what other people have in their heads and their perception of you. As long as
Mm.
you're happy and you're selling something that you like,
Yeah.
you're probably going to do a good job.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, like anytime you maybe see my post on LinkedIn, everyone just goes like, "God, this guy's so positive," blah 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 blah. But like, nobody can be that positive all the time.
No.
I know, like, I maybe come across that way of like the ray of light. This guy is too good to be true.
Hmm.
But there's been plenty of times where I've been in sales and you're not hitting your targets, and you get down on yourself and you're getting it tight. And then what I do with every week, whenever any business comes in, I'll write it into the diary and then I'll put beside it what I sold it for and what I made. And then I know what my break even point is at the end of the week. So then I add it up at the end of the week. And if I've made money, puts a smile on my face. If I've not made money, I'm not happy about it. But at least I know.
Yeah.
Some people maybe just go into sales and just keep going and going. And next thing, the bank manager just rings them up and said, lights out.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm very hands on. I've no sales guys out there on the road. We used to down a few years ago. Don't need them.
Hmm.
We don't need them. I've got great staff around me. I've got Susan who just celebrated 20 years with me.
Fantastic.
So I don't know if you'd seen that on LinkedIn. I'd stuck up that thing with a 20-year anniversary.
Yeah.
So I stuck it up on Instagram and stuck that up on Twitter and stuck it up on Facebook. And I sent her a bit of money there over the weekend, and she got it Monday. She got it yesterday, so she
Brilliant.
got a nice wee bit of money in her bank account, so she can get a few bottles of wine and maybe a wee trip somewhere.
That's
So
fantastic. Brilliant.
but you got to look after your staff. Like Richard Branson always said that there, you look after your staff and they'll look after your customers. And I've got other people that have worked here. Jennifer, 17 years. Johnny, 16 years. Stephen, about 17 or 18 years. And actually, Jennifer and Johnny met each other here, and then they end up getting married, and now have two kids, Bethany and Conan. So I was like Cilla Black, you know what I mean? It's just turned up with an Andy Cap hat.
Uh, that's fantastic. It's
Yeah,
great. It's great to get some insight into your business as well, Mark, because this is the other thing. Culture within a business,
yeah.
particularly sales culture, is very, very, very important. And
Mm.
your staff are obviously experienced enough and educated enough that you
Yeah,
trust them to speak to your customers, and you know that they'll probably do their utmost best. If a
yeah,
customer does need something, they'll be
yeah.
there to facilitate them. So
Oh
that's
no, 100%. They're there for me, but I look after them and I reward them whenever, if there's money there to be given, I'll reward them and give them Christmas bonuses or a bonus just out of the blue. And yeah, that puts a smile on their face. And I treat them like, because in the end, I'm a small business SME. They see me well, they used to see me on a weekly basis. Now it's just me in the office painting the office. So whenever they do come back, which I hope it'll be in 3 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, whatever it'll be, the place will look it's looking good. So
good.
they'll come back with a smile on their face.
Happy days, brilliant.
Yeah.
That's very, very insightful, and I would say there's been some great snippets of information there that a lot of salespeople out there could be listening to, but also a lot of business owners
Mm-hmm.
could be picking up on. So I would suggest, if you want to have a chat or anything, have a chat with Mark. I'm sure he's happy to help anybody out where he can.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. And I love to help people out. If I see somebody doing stuff on LinkedIn, I'm very positive about it. Few guys that deal with on LinkedIn needing a bit of money, I'd do it. I did the Macmillan Golf Challenge, last year,
Mm-hmm.
and three of us went out and played 4 rounds of golf. Two at not Royal Donaghadee, but Trevor Reid called it Royal
Yeah,
Donaghadee, and then 2 rounds at Royal Belfast, and we brought in about £2,500.
madness.
And we walked 26 and a half miles. I walked and had a golf clubs over my shoulders, and my feet were on fire for about 4 or 5 days. But you know what? I was well chuffed. I was well chuffed because it just felt good that I was giving something back. It's nice. It's nice to give something back. Some people in life are all on the take,
Yes,
but I'm more of one of God's givers than takers. But if I do get it, I won't say no to it.
of
You
course not.
know.
Do you know
But
this is the other thing about sales, and I'm glad you brought this up. The other thing with sales mentally, we're taking all the time.
mm,
Salespeople, at the end of the day, we are serving, and if you're doing the job right, you're here to help people. That's how I
yeah,
do my job. That's why I like what I do, because I like helping people.
yeah.
And if I can get into a job where I'm helping people be
Mm.
successful or grow or whatever it is, I am happy. That's me.
Yeah.
I've got my job satisfaction. But we're taking all the time. So maybe as sales professionals, it would be nice to give back a little bit to actually
Mm.
to actually just feel a little bit more significant in the world, because
Mm.
when you're taking all the time, you do feel a bit of a burden sometimes. So I would
Yeah.
agree with you on that, Mark, certainly, and
Yeah.
fair play to you. Um,
Mm.
moving on, I want to stick to the sales scene here. Um,
Mm.
obviously you're a business owner as well, so I'm going to
Yeah.
take the opportunity to to
Mm.
find out your views on being sold to. So,
Yeah.
is there anything that you would change about how people sell in today's world?
Yeah. Lucky enough, whenever the office is full and Jennifer and Susan are in the other office, they're my deflector shields. So they know straight away somebody's at their work. Like, oh yeah, I know Mark for years. And go, what's your name? And then Susan, who's worked there 20 years, will know rightly. Yeah, he's salesy. And then they'll put it through. Cold callers, God love them. It's a hateful job, but people that just randomly find out about you and then ring you up and then want to sell you the kitchen sink, and you're going, I've never heard of you before. I've never spoken to you before. Do the groundwork. You know what I mean? Do the groundwork. If you come across me on LinkedIn, start liking my posts, start commenting, pretending that you do care about something that I'm doing, but don't just come in like and send an invite connection. And then within 2 minutes of that invite connection that I accept, they hit you with war and peace paragraphs of pure exhausting reading. And then you're just going, oh, I'm not doing that. I hate people that just approach me with cold calls. I hate it.
Yeah,
And I feel sorry for people that have to do that for a living because they say one in every, what is it, 100 or 200 or 3,000 they get lucky.
it's crazy. Yeah,
Um,
the law of averages.
and also people maybe who I know are just too pushy and they keep
Okay.
coming at you. People that maybe have hit you with one email and then you haven't replied. And I used to reply to everybody. But then now I've got to a stage where I'll only reply to something that'll benefit me to sort of like, well, I take the time out. But if somebody's coming at me with just rubbish, I just ignore it. I just ignore it now because I just don't have enough time in the day. I hate pushy. Nobody in Northern Ireland, and I think it's worldwide,
Yeah.
nobody likes the hard sale.
No.
People buy off people. And if they like you and they like your product and you've got a good price, because that's what it all comes into. It all comes into, people like you. But if you're selling it £1,000 more than somebody else, doesn't matter how much they like you, they're going to go to that other person that's selling the same product £1,000 less.
Yeah. So you hate how people cold call, and you hate how people pressure people into sales,
Yeah,
and keep pushing when they know that they maybe shouldn't be. Um,
yeah.
what would you suggest that people should do differently then, if they're trying to
Well,
be
yeah.
respectful and do decent business?
Well, like for example, mobile phone companies with VoIP. I've just got new VoIP phones in through Barclays Communications.
Yeah.
Getting the plug. Better be
There
giving
you
me
go.
discount if you see this. Um, they do my mobile phones as well, do a great job. But you get like phone companies that just contact you out of the blue. Do you need VoIP phones? Do you need your mobile? And I'm just going to myself, if somebody in that world, in that business, made software that they able to click on and go, Barrington Security, they just got new VoIP phones there 2 months ago. They're in a 3 or 5 year contract. Leave them alone.
Yep.
Or Barrington Security got mobile phones with Barclays or whoever. They're in a contract for 3 years. Leave me alone. But
Yep.
these people will ring you out of the blue, send you an email, make you a phone call. Do you need mobile phones? Do you need VoIP? And you go, if somebody made that software, they would be worth a fortune, because then they could get their timings right and maybe drop, contact you 2 or 3 months before the end of your contract and then hit you with, what are you spending? And you send them the bill, and then they come back and go, well, we can do it for £20 less a month. And then you go, well, you got it.
Yeah. That's interesting because
Timing.
not that there is a software solution out there that would do that
Mm.
right now, but
Yeah.
there is CRM systems, customer
Mm.
relationship management systems, and these
Yeah.
companies. I'm glad you brought that up because I can now maybe give some advice here. Is that these
Yeah.
companies should be, when they phone you, should be recording this on the CRM system,
Mm.
and they should be putting the notes, okay,
Yeah.
with this company,
Yeah.
signed up this date, um, and then expires this date, and they will
Mm.
have the calendar and
Yeah.
a time button, and they'll be able to hit call back 3 years,
Yeah.
call back 2 years,
Yeah.
and then they should never contact you again because
Yeah.
they did their due diligence.
Yeah.
Um, and they might send you an email and just say, listen, if you need anything, any advice or guidance, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm here if you need it.
Yeah.
Just in case, God forbid, something goes wrong with the current provider and you're not
Yeah.
happy, you'll
Yeah.
know, okay, I've got this guy. Would you
Mm.
say that would probably be a better way to work for some companies?
Definitely, I think if people worked at like the timing, get your timings right. But if you're contacting somebody who's on a 5 year contract and you've just taken it out in 2 months, like, it's a pointless conversation.
Yeah,
And then you're just going through the motions and you're just going, this is pointless.
yeah,
And also, with me being based in Northern Ireland, if an English company are trying to sell me VoIP,
mhm,
I'm not going to go with them because I'm going to go local.
yeah,
I'm going to give it to a local business that the person can come and meet me
mhm,
and see me in person. And I maybe provided a really good service before. You're going to go with local
yeah,
if you can.
yeah, of
It just
course.
depends. Like you said, it depends on the business, the business trade that you're in.
Hmm.
Like obviously I sell safes, with so many different brands and security products.
Yeah,
And one of my biggest ones is Charvet Safes in
yeah,
Czech Republic. I mean, I have a great relationship with Jakob. Been dealing with him for 7 years, and without him, I probably wouldn't be here,
yeah, hundred
which is
percent.
a big thing to say.
Yeah, definitely 100%. And again, in terms of the cold calls,
Mm,
I'm just thinking, going through my head, I'm thinking of
mm,
a VoIP provider calling you up, and
mm,
you turn around and go, no, no, listen, I've just signed up there. I'm in a 2 year deal here. Give me a call back. And in my head, I can imagine the guy just going, well, but what about this? And do you have this? And do you have that?
yeah,
How much does that annoy
yeah.
you?
Yeah, it's annoying, but I think that they've started talking to you, so they're trying to build a bit of rapport.
Hmm.
But when you tell them that, like, call back in 46 months, you're wasting your time and you're just
Yeah.
going through the motions.
And
But
would you
whenever
prefer
they start,
those guys? Would you prefer those guys to turn around and go, listen, Mark, I appreciate that. Do you mind if I set you for a wee call back here and send you a wee email with my details, um,
yeah.
and call you back in about
Well,
2 years' time?
well, more or less what I say to them, just to get them off the phone, I'll
Yeah.
actually say, look, here's my email address. So you feel that you have to give them something so they can go away.
Hmm.
So if you don't give them anything, then they keep asking questions. Well, how much are you paying? Oh, I could do such a better deal. I said, well, it's too late. I've signed up for five
Yeah.
years. And I say, well, here's my email address. So I don't want to be rude. You know what I mean? The person's doing their job. God love them. And it's a hard job, cold calls. So I end up giving them something. And at the end, they mightn't be there in a year's time or 3 months'
Yep.
time. Who knows? I mean, there's what Anderson Macaulay's going for what in Belfast for 125 years. And just out of nowhere, just, remember, I don't know if you remember Anderson Macaulay's,
No.
probably they would have been next door to Primark, obviously Primark or Primark
Yeah. Yeah.
to the left. So Anderson Macaulay was a great clothes shop. It was like the Macy's of Belfast,
Ah,
like
right.
Macy's
Okay.
of New York.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they had such a wonderful selection going for 125 years, but you're only as good as your last job. And I think online or whatever, something came in, a lot of competition, and they went out of business. So who knows, like, where we're going to be, like, with this whole coronavirus. Things are going to change for the better or for the good for a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
Some people maybe that have businesses where people are working from home will see that their staff are actually more productive
Hmm.
and able to get more work done than what it would be that if they're in an office with another 80 people.
Yeah. 100%.
I
And
mean, things like that.
this is a challenge as well for business owners, for sales professionals, anybody in business. Um, we've been pushed into a new trajectory now in terms
Yeah,
of how we do business. So cold calls, I would envisage cold calls will still happen, but
yeah,
they to hit on that, their cold calls are not cold calls anymore, and they should be cold calls anymore. Nobody should,
lukewarm.
yeah, nobody should be picking the phone up and calling you randomly and going, "Here, do you want to buy this?" Because it doesn't work like that anymore.
Yeah,
So I've coined the new term. It's prospecting calls. And
yeah.
what you're doing is
Good.
it's a combination of LinkedIn, maybe an
Mhm.
email, um, an interaction in some other platform, maybe,
Yeah.
and then you pick the phone up and you go, "Hello, we've been interacting. You've maybe seen some of my content. I've seen some of your content, and you have a
Mm.
conversation,
Yeah.
rather than trying to throw something down someone's throat.
Yeah.
Have a conversation
Yeah.
because you've built that relationship up a little bit, and that person might know your name, might know the company that you
Mm.
work for, and if they're
Yeah.
interested, if they are interested, they will have a conversation with you. And if they're not interested, they're going to close you down. That's okay. I would say take that and just roll with that. Um, so yeah, I would say
Yeah.
move forward, with caution, but remember that in today's world, things are going to change, and sales meetings are going to be done through Zoom, like how we're doing now. Sales meetings are going to
Hmm.
be done in different ways. It's going to be easier to jump on a Zoom call than it is to go down to Dublin and do business in Dublin.
Yeah.
It's going to save you money and time. So rather than do a 20-minute or 30-minute in Dublin, you can do a 20 or 30-minute phone call
Yeah.
through Zoom. Um, and
Yeah.
that's kind of where I think things are going to go. So Mark, listen, that would sort of wrap up, um, what I would say a very very insightful session with you, um, from
Oh,
a
thank
seller's point
you.
of view, selling your product, but also
Mm.
from a buyer's point of view. There's some
Mm.
fantastic tips in there that salespeople can really really use. So I appreciate that, Mark. Um, in
You're
terms
welcome.
Great. In terms of where people can find you and the sort of overall business, do you want to give people a little bit more information about what you're doing, and how people can maybe reach out to you?
Yeah, well, look, like yourself, you found me through LinkedIn and you approached me, said a couple of nice comments 3 or 4 months ago,
Yeah.
and you didn't come in with a hard sale. So, a bit like what I was saying earlier, you built up a wee bit of rapport, you did the groundwork, and then you obviously contacted me there about a week ago, and we had a conversation about doing this meeting, and then I was more than happy to agree.
Thank you.
'Cause I think what you're doing is really, really good, and I wish you every success with it. With me, easy to find. You find me on LinkedIn. You'll find me on barringtonsecurity.co.uk. We sell over 2,000 security products, but we also just don't do safes. We do air tube systems, note and coin counting machines, time attendance systems, ring doorbells, Barrington watch winders. The list goes on. We do Wi-Fi cameras. We do a good range of products.
Okay.
Very easy to find, and obviously you know my strap line, which it's be safe, be sure, be Barrington secure. Uh,
Brilliant.
it's it's worth its weight in gold. And I remember whenever I did a radio ad with City Beat, and the people were making up "Be safe, be sure, be Barrington," and I went, "There's something missing there. There's just something missing there." And Susan just went to me, "What about secure?" So what do you mean? He says, "Be safe, be sure, be Barrington secure." So Susan, who's worked here for me for 20 years, worth her weight in gold, made that strap line. I can't
Brilliant.
even say I did, but yeah, that's what it's all about. I'm not doing the hard sale, Kenny. Never have. If people need my product, and a lot of times they say they don't. they're only in denial. That's what I
Yeah.
say.
Fair play. That's it. Listen, one of the things I like about you, Mark, is that you believe in the product that you sell, and because of that, you provide an excellent service. So, listen, mate,
Thank
I
you.
wish you all the best and an additional 30 more years in business. Um, Thank you very much for your time,
Well,
Mark.
maybe that, appreciate that. 30 years, I'll be 75, so I better be in the Bahamas, nodding at Mr. Branson's kids. You know what I mean? If only.
We'll hold you
So,
to that there. I'll touch base with you, sure, and we'll see how you go.
yeah, you too, Kenny. Appreciate
Listen,
it.
Mark,
You have a great day.
thank you very much for your time. Cheers.
Take care.
Cheers.